Awesome. So Equestria Games. So this is when it actually manifests, turns into a reality, and starts to happen. Just like with the Olympics, there's a ginormous torch that everybody carries from all different parts of the world to the beginning of the games, and then they light up the torch, and there's the crowd, and everybody goes wild. Everyone just has the best time ever. These are all the fans, and they're super excited for the games. And so Spike is sort of the torch blower. He's the guy who's going to start the games by using his dragon fire breath to let's draw fire. Fire's green, right? Yeah. So he's supposed to use his fire breath, and he's going to start the torch, and then the games are going to start, and everybody's going to be happy, and it's going to be the best thing ever. And so that's kind of how we walk into this episode, and we start with this episode. As we're starting with everyone's counting on Spike. He's going to start this torch. It's going to be the best thing ever, and that's going to be is his happy moment in the Equestria Games. So that's how it works. So Twilight comes with Spike, and everyone travels over to the Crystal Empire at the start of the games, and they're all ready to go, and the stage is filled, everyone's excited, and what's cool is so there's some security, and so with the security, the ponies that have magic, they can't use their magic, because if they could cheat during the games, except for the princesses, obviously, because they're the princesses, so I guess everyone trusts them. So it's pretty much up to him, and so he goes up and he walks up to this torch, and he has thousands and thousands of people behind him cheering him on, screaming his name, and he just freaking freezes. He has no clue what to do. He's just shocked, and he can't for the life of him get this fire to come out of his mouth. He can't breathe fire, and he's there, and he's trapped, and he has no clue what to do. He's just lost, which is just crazy. And so he's freaking out. He's been up there for 30 seconds and has not lit the torch yet because he just can't get it to happen. And so Twilight, she uses her magic and she lights it up for him because he just wasn't able to do it. After Twilight lights it up, the crowd goes wild. Everyone has the amazing, crazy time, and they're super excited, super pumped about it. And unfortunately, Spike feels terrible about it, and he walks down from this podium feeling distraught. Twilight did the right thing and got the games going, but Spike, he feels like he's left some of his manhood up there, and he feels just like he could have done more, but he just wasn't able to, and he kind of dropped under the pressure, which sucks. And so this introduction and this situation that's going to set up the rest of the episode is really important, because most of this episode is about Spike. Which is pretty interesting because we haven't really seen that ever before. So the games go on. They start playing. They start doing their racing, their routines. Everyone does their thing for their country, for their town, for where they're from, and everything's great at the beginning. It's awesome. Everyone's going. Then after a couple of days of the games going on, there's a problem. Okay. Now, terrorism and people that's not a problem because, like I said, there's security and the unicorns, they can't have magic. So, and it's there's not any really bad people, so it's not a big deal. But there becomes this threat, and what happens is an accident, and it's bad. But before we get to that, before we get to that conflict, I want to stalk back just a little bit. See, as Spike's talking to Twilight, as he's talking to Celestia, as he's talking to Shining Armor and Cadence, as these games are going on, he keeps referring, and talking about how he wasn't able to light this torch, and he keeps focusing on it and bringing it up over and over and over again because he cares about it and he thinks it was really important and he feels like he missed his one chance. But every time he talks to somebody else about it, they say it's not a big deal. They say it's okay. You know what? Smile, positivity. It's okay. It's awesome. It got lit. It's the best. You did a great job. It's not a big deal. Everybody else is happy with it. Everyone else is positive. Everyone else has moved on, but not Spike. And so often, we're harder on ourselves than other people are. We're harder because we expect perfection, when in reality, a vast majority of the world just wants the result, and he got the result. And so please, don't act like this, right? Don't think that just because it wasn't 100% perfect that you're not okay, that you can't move on, that you can't count it as a success. Because by all means, this was a success. But Spike sees it as a huge problem. And it's all inside his head. He can perceive this event however he desires. And so your goal, right, is to perceive what you do and anything that you do as a total and complete success, so that you have the confidence to move on to the next challenge and do it to the best of your ability and succeed by stacking onto your previous successes and counting everything positively, so that you have that positive growth mindset. So with that said, he's been doing this for days and days and days, constantly thinking about this, because he feels really, really bad. And so where he's at right now, he's at a point of pressure. He's at a point where he knows that he can do so much more. He needs to break through to achieve it. And that's all him. It's his responsibility. It's his duty. He shall do it. And so because he wants to break through so much, he knows he must break through. What happens is really, really interesting. See, pressure, remember, is a very, very strong motivator, and it helps you get to the success that you desire. And so because he has this pressure, because he knows he has such greater potential, he does something really cool. So towards the end of the episode and towards the end of the games, there's an ice arrow competition. And the way it works is there's just a bunch of archers, and the archers, they stand here and they shoot their ice arrows to, huge targets, right? And then when they hits the target, they get like a bullseye or whatever, and it turns to like ice. Now with these ice archers, there's a little bit of a challenge. See, what happens is, first of all, like, this is an open air stadium, right? And there are like clouds everywhere around the stadium, which is, normal. Like, there's clouds in the sky. Makes sense, right? But what happens is, someone like drops their bow or drops an arrow, and it knocks, they knock into one of these ice archers. And the ice archer, flails around, and his bow releases. And the arrow flies straight into the air, and it hits one of the clouds. And then this cloud, which is covering the entirety of the stadium, instantly turns into this massive block of ice and starts falling directly towards all the athletes on the field. And then all the referees, and there's hundreds of people on the field. This massive block of ice is falling straight towards everyone. And at this point, again, nobody can use magic, right? And so there's like nothing that basically anybody knows. No one knows what to do. They're just clueless because they can't just levitate it, because it's freaking huge, and it's not like they can just get out of the way. Like, it's coming down quick. And so Spike does what is so powerful is he realizes his peak potential, and he achieves what he is worthy of. And he at the beginning he was upset with himself. He redeems himself to himself by leaping into the air, and midair, after jumping off of like a 10-foot balcony, he breathes like so much fire into this thing that the whole thing melts and saves like everyone. And he's like the biggest hero on the planet in front of everybody, tens of thousands of people. How cool is that? He absolutely crushes it. Not because he practiced anymore, not because he, put in extra training in. It's because he was in the right situation at the right time, and he emotionalized his actions and had a strong desire and urge and reason to actually save the situation and to freaking save so many people. He jumped up, took action, and was like the only person in the right position at the right time that could actually do this, which is so powerful. It's huge, and it makes him a humongous hero throughout all of the Crystal Empire. And he is it's just huge for him, and it changes how everybody looks at him. So he's seen as such a great public influence from this point forward for the rest of the show, all because he decided not to hesitate. Because you cannot hesitate when the moment is there. When it's time for action, you must destroy fear. he could have like gotten totally crushed by this thing if he couldn't breathe this fire. But he didn't even sweat it, because he knew that the reward was so much greater than the risk that he must do it. And so he did. And he saved everyone. Massive action. Super powerful concept. And it's one that it's like ridiculously well developed in the 10x rule. So if I don't know if you probably have read it, but the 10x rule is so freaking good. And it's all about this idea of taking just ridiculously huge amounts of action, just like Spike, so you can have the highest impact possible in every single aspect of your life, of your business, of your family, and of your friendship mastermind. So huge. And that's just really, really powerful stuff. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get to go to Twilight's Kingdom. So Twilight's Kingdom, it starts out pretty it's like the season finale, but it's kind of bland. And it just starts out pretty slow. And what happens is like Twilight, she feels left out, right? So she became a princess, she became an alicorn, whatever. And she hasn't really done anything differently, right? And she's just been with her friends, doing normal things, and just being like a person. And she doesn't really understand, what her role actually means. And so she goes to Canterlot and she starts talking with the princesses. She associates what she do. She's not hanging out with the lowest common denominator. She's surrounding herself with the most powerful and important ponies on the planet, the most important people that anybody could find, so that she can raise her skills and her success and her impact by working with them. So look at what she does in this next song and the impacts and the emotions that she has. And note that she's totally surrounding herself with the top friends possible that pull her up in the social ladder.
It isn't that I'm ungrateful for all the things that I've earned, for all the journeys I have taken, all the lessons that I have learned. But I wonder where I'm going now, what my role is meant to be. I don't know how to travel to a future that I can't see. I have my wings, I wear this crown. I'm a princess, this is true. But it's still unclear to me just what I am meant to do. I wanna have a purpose, wanna do all that I can. I wanna make a contribution, I want to be a part of the plan.
Your destiny's uncertain, and that's sometimes hard to take, but it will become much clearer with every new choice you make. Patience is never easy, I understand wanting more. I know how hard it is to wait, to spread out your wings and soar.
But you stand here for a reason. You're gifted and you are strong. That crown is upon your head because you belong. Know that your time is coming soon. As the sun rises, so does the moon. As love finds a place in every heart, you are a princess, you'll play your part.
We understand you wanting more, a chance to shine, a chance to soar.
Soon will come the day it turns around. Know that your time is coming soon. As the sun rises, so does the moon. As love finds a place in every heart, you are a princess, you'll play your part.
You are a
So they sing that huge song to Twilight, and they are so excited for her because they know that like she deserves, and she will get whatever purpose it is that she needs in her life, which is like the coolest thing ever. So after that, she goes back home, and then like what happens is really weird. So Celestia has a dream, right? And it's a dream about someone named Tirek. So Tirek is this guy, and he used to be with his brother a long time ago, but his brother tried to like help the world, whereas Tirek, he kind of like tried to take over the world, which was kind of not the nicest thing to do. And so he tried to like suck the magic out of everybody and basically like destroy them, and then take over the world. And so because of that, he got sent to jail like forever. But Celestia has this dream, and then Luna sees this dream since she like watches all the dreams, and then they realize that like, yo, oh my gosh, man, this Tirek guy, he like escaped jail, so that's not good. And then after that, it cuts to like Tirek, and he's like this centaur guy, and he's walking around town, and he's like sucking the life out of people and absorbing it and growing it in power and strength and just kind of bulking up and getting big. And so Celestia and Luna, they call Twilight, they call Cadence, and they say, hey, look, this is Tirek. He's a serious threat. He can like kill everybody, so that's a problem, and he wants to. So we need to bring someone in to take care of it. And so like Twilight thinks it's going to be her, but then Celestia says that they should actually get Discord to take care of it, because he's like so powerful, right? And so Twilight goes home a little disappointed, and they meet up with the main six. And they go to the forest, and they say, okay, well, Discord's going to save the day. I guess he's a new princess or something. And so they go over to the castle in the middle of the forest. And in this castle in the middle of the forest, they're looking through, like, these books, and they're planning out how they're going to fight this guy. And Discord, he points something out that's, like, super, super powerful. And it's this diary that they'd be keeping of all of their friendship experiences and everything they've been doing together over time, and like just all of their lives are just what they like recorded in their diary, right? And so in here he points out some like the most important things they've done, and most specifically he points out like the entries that give them like the keys, right? So remember at the Tree of Friendship, they're sacrificed elements of harmony and had to give them to the Tree of Friendship. And when they did that, when the tree came back to life, it also came like a chest came out of the ground. So the chest, it has 6 keys, holes in it for 6 keys, right? And so in these entries that he points out, what Discord finds are like 5 really, really important items to each of the 5 ponies except for Twilight. And those 5 items, they take them over to this chest, and they present the items at the chest, and the items become keys to open up 5 of the 6 holes in the chest. So just a little backstory on like what's going on over here in the background as we move into fighting Tirek. So with that said, Discord goes and he meets Tirek, and he says he's gonna take him over and beat him up, and he's got to save the world for his friend Fluttershy, because like he's doing it for friendship, right? Nobody really believes in Discord except for Fluttershy, because Fluttershy has the deepest connection with him, right? And no one else does. And so, because of that, he goes over to Tirek, and Tirek, like, basically convinces him that he should team up with him and try to take over the world together instead of working with his friends. And Discord, I mean, it sucks, man, because he breaks away from the people that have been here to supporting him and saving him for so long. And we'll see how it works out soon enough. But basically, he says, yeah, let's do it. I'll take over the world with you. He ditches the mastermind. He ditches the friend group to go, out solo with Tirek to try to take over the world, which it sucks. It's just not a good situation. And you kind of see, like, in his personality, but also just, it's going to crush his friends when they hear this and they understand what's happening. And so we'll get to that in just a minute. But that's sort of like what happens here, and probably like the biggest takeaways from it. Like with the keys, they're going to be really important, but kind of more importantly is this idea that like, Celestia, Luna, and Cadence, they decided to go with the Discord, and they put all their trust in this one guy. And it sucks, but like if you look at investments, or if you look at decisions, you look at employees, like You can put everything you have on one bet. And if that bet goes south, if that bet goes south, and you lose it all, you're screwed. Now, that's not what happened here, thankfully. See, the cool thing is the magic of diversification, right? So these guys might have put like maybe 10% of their energies, their efforts, and their opportunities in Discord. And so because they have like a whole another 90% of things left up here, like their drop was a lot smaller, right? And they still got the ability to come way back up here. And so they sort of move on to a second plan, and their second plan is to give all their energy to Twilight. So let's see if I have a picture. Yeah. So they like take all of the magic that they have collectively, and they put it in this ginormous ball, this huge power ball. It's just tons and tons of energy, and it's literally their whole essence. And they give all of it to Twilight. The whole group of princesses, everything they have goes to Twilight, because they know that one being with all of their magic will be significantly more powerful than each of them spread out apart and not focused in one central asset. And so that's kind of like exactly the decision they make. And they say, look, we got to do it this way. This is the dream. This is the strategy. And that's their next plan, right? And their next plan brings them way back up here, which is awesome. And so this takes a lot of trust, right? Like they have to be all in on Twilight for this to work. And that's really exactly how it works. Like they have full faith and full trust in her, and there is no other option at this point. So it's like got to be her. And it shows like how much they believe in her, and kind of more importantly, like, you know, she is pretty much all they've got, and this has to work. They didn't go all in on Discord, but they did go all in on Twilight. And so if you go all in, you can double your money or you can go crap. And so they need it to go here. And so they've put their bet on a friend that they know has been a strong performer for so long. And because of that, they understand that this is their new formula. Okay, awesome. So let's erase just a little bit of this, and we'll look at what happens now that Discord's partnered with T-Rex, and Twilight's coming on back. So T-Rex comes, and he's like super huge, super powerful. You can kind of see him in this picture. He's like magnet. He's just huge. And he comes into Ponyville, and he starts to kind of like suck the life out of everybody and just like leave them on the ground for dead. And then he gets a huge cage, and he puts all Twilight's friends in the cage because Discord told him that, you know, Twilight's friends are what gave her like all of her power, right? And so he decides, okay, well, let's put them all in this giant cage and suck the life out of them. So that's kind of exactly what they do. And then what happens is, after Discord gets all of Twilight's friends trapped and pretty much sucks the life out of everybody in the world, and the only person left to defeat is Twilight, the two of them, they went to the castle, they went to the Canterlot, and they tried to find the princesses. They were rid of magic, and Discord showed them the way to success. He showed them the strategy to get rid of the friends. And as soon as T-Rex had no more use for him, this partnership, it just flew away. And this person that Discord thought he could trust sucked the life force out of him, all the chaos energy out of him, and left him on the ground for dead. This is why you have to be when you risk it all. Discord risked everything by ditching all of his friends, and he was left lifeless on the ground because of it. Because he teamed up with someone who did not have his interest in heart. He was a bad person, an evil person. But Discord couldn't see that. He was blinded by the potential gain. He was blinded by so many people. They see stocks, they can go up 15,000%, and they are blinded by the downside of all of your investment. And they completely ignore that you can lose everything and look only at this gain up here that could be take over the world, make a ton of bank, whatever it is. That's what Discord saw. And not for a minute did he look at the downside, which is what happens so often when you make that investment. And that's what happened to Discord. He got to ground zero. He lost everything. Lost his friends, lost his powers, lost everything because he did not stick with the core principles. He didn't stick with his friends. So with that said, let's look at the fight So after all this happens, Twilight comes back. She finds Tirek, and there's a pretty intense fight. And so we're gonna watch that.
I can do this. See? Ha! Perfectly controlled teleportation.
Princess Twilight!
Tirek!
You have something that belongs to me! You're going to give me what I want. Understand what your fellow princesses have done.
And so, everything's in Twilight, right? I mean, they go all in on her, and it goes hard. It goes so hard. And so they have this huge fight. And, the problem is, it's just, they're so close in power. It's literally everybody on the planet versus, all of their magic versus the magic of, all of the Alicorn princesses. And it's just, it's freaking tough. And so Tirek, he pulls out his trap card. He pulls out all of Twilight's friends. Because remember, Twilight's friends, they're the most important part of everything. And the mastermind, the group, the everything. It's just all Twilight's friends, right? And so she sees her friends, they're stuck in their bubbles and their cages. And Tirek says, hey, why don't they make a trade? And he says that he will trade all of the Alicorn magic in Equestria for her friends. And with slight hesitation and a little bit of thought, she realizes that her friends and their friendship is so much more powerful than anything else they could ever even dream of. And that it makes no sense to fight a man who is of such great power with magic alone. She cannot do it by herself. She needs her friends. That's the only way to do it. And so she trades. She gives him all the freaking magic, and she releases her friends. And at that point, Discord, he goes up to Twilight, and he says he's so sorry, and he can't believe what he did. And he hands her a medallion that Tirek gave him when he said she could trust him. And after he hands her this medallion, she realizes that this is the last key to the chest. And so they all go to the Tree of Harmony. She it turns into a key, puts in the last key, opens it up, and they just all go berserk. They get they all turn into huge rainbow things. And even though they don't have the elements of harmony, they have each other, and they have their strengths as a group. And so they all glow and transform into, super powerful ponies, blah, blah, blah. And they all fly up in the air. And even though they don't have any normal magic whatsoever, they possess the most powerful magic of all, which is the magic of friendship. And they destroy this man, which is just insane. And so it shows that, like, he had literally, T-Rex, he's got, say this is T-Rex, he's got all the magic, like, on the planet. But none of that can work alone against a coordinated and quality team of a mastermind and a collection and a group that possesses their power together, because it is so exponentially much more impactful than any individual could ever even hope to be. And so they blow them up, and that's that. Everyone gets their powers back, everyone gets their magic back. People get mad at Discord, and they have to figure that stuff out, and it takes a while. But that's it. And everything goes because of the group. And so to sort of physically manifest that group, what happens next is, and you'll see this in just a moment, this tree of harmony, it sees that, they've been insanely successful, and they've defeated, everyone by using their friendship and their teamwork. And so the tree of harmony, like, sprouts into, like, this ginormous castle where Twilight's old house just got blown up. And so her old place turns into, like, this giant castle, which is pretty sick. And then, that's it. That's how it ends out. It's so cool. And it shows the insane power that, like, any goal, any challenge, anything that you desire to overcome and defeat or achieve or accomplish or build or create, it can all be done as a team. This was the most difficult thing they had ever done in their lives. And the only reason they were able to accomplish this, and when nobody else could, not even the most powerful rulers of Equestria, none of them could do it with normal magic alone, it's because she had friendship. So let's finish it out with the end of the series.
Each one of us has something special that makes us different, that makes us rare. We have a light that shines within us that we were always meant to share. And when we come together, combine the light that shines within, there is nothing we can't do, there is no battle we can't win. When we come together, there'll be a star to guide the way. It's inside us every day. See it now, see it now. Let the rainbow remind you that together we will always shine. Let the rainbow remind you that forever this will be our time. Let the rainbow remind you that together we will always shine.
Woo! Sweet. So yeah, man, let's go grab some lunch, have a giant party. Definitely recommend you guys grab these sick negotiating books, so you can stop missing out on the things you really want and get exactly what you desire. But that was season 4, and it's so awesome. So there you go. Hope it had a huge impact, and we'll be back soon. So thanks so much. Let's get it going. Woo! Thanks.